different one.
Ask if you believe in ghosts. Doesn't have to say it.
That's meh.
I mean, we could do that another time. It's fine. That story's not going to go anywhere, and I've had it for a million
That's
times. Oh, but the short of that story, which I'll share on air one time, so you both know. Remember who the... Oh, ghost story. Do I believe in ghosts? Hi. Welcome to Loud Thoughts. Seaman and Chance. Does Kevin believe in ghosts?
She got you again.
No. But...
Dive on in! I'm sorry.
It's so
out
of place.
I'm also looking to her husband. Peace.
It's so out of place.
My friend Ed, growing up in high school, I had to be 16 or 17 years old. His parents believed that they had ghosts in their house. And I don't believe in ghosts, and I'm a caffeinated douchebag. So, what they did is they actually... Do you remember... It was one of the ghost hunting TV shows with the Warrens. The Warrens, like the famous ghost hunters from like the Northeast. They live in Connecticut.
Yeah.
So the Warrens came to their house, and the Warrens set up all of these like video cameras and all this equipment and shit. And I'm there too at like 7 o'clock at night before it gets dark out, and they're like, okay, so here's what's gonna happen, and they're giving the rundown. Meanwhile, I made sock puppets, and I was walking through the fucking house, pretending like every time like I would pop up under the thing, I'd be like, hi. Like, but I didn't tell anybody, and then they came in and caught me doing it and kicked me out of the house. So, but they have about 30 minutes of solid footage of sock puppet ghosts. So,
that's amazing.
So, and then they wound up saying, "Yeah, your house is haunted." And I still said, "Meh, maybe."
It's filled with sock puppets.
All right. So we are going to be asking each other random questions from a bowl. To one, get to know each other better, which is scary, and two, so you guys get to know us as well. Kevin, you can go first. Dive on in. I'm sorry.
What was your favorite TV show growing up? And why? That's not on the card, but I asked anyways.
What age?
All right. That's a good question. What age?
Yeah.
He's like our what's her name from Rogan.
All right, so let's see. If I was like younger, I would say like Boy Meets World, like TGIF
Standard.
Friday. You know
Standard.
what I'm saying? Yeah, like standard. Like no, but like
I'm hoping
it's
for
like
something
the
good.
feel good stuff. You know what I mean? That
Fair.
has the lessons at the end of it, where that's kind of been taken away. Unless you watch The Goldbergs, which is a great show.
The who?
The Goldbergs.
I didn't know that's a thing.
Oh yeah, it's on. Go on Hulu and watch The Goldbergs. It's about a Jewish family and it's amazing.
That's a pretty weak question, so your turn.
Okay, yeah. Okay, if you could be any kind of animal, what would you be?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Fuck!
That's a good one.
I mean, like, you want to pick something savage? A bald eagle, motherfucker, America.
Ooh.
You can fly.
You're right. With how
and
many
you're
American
savage.
flags I get from you in emojis a day, you should be a
I use
bald
the
eagle.
American flag instead of like a period at the end of sentences because it's the right thing to do.
No, all I get is if Kevin texts me, it always ends with eggplant and American flags.
And you know how most people can like respond with K? It's like if it's a yes or no question, I answer with an American flag. That means yes, just in case you.
I
need
do
to know.
like that you came up with the American eagle, bald American
bald
eagle,
eagle, American
eagle.
Platypus
Hey.
is where it's at.
But serious, savage animal, American as fuck, and you can fly. I mean,
Yep. No.
seriously.
I agree.
It's gonna be tough to top that.
No, I agree.
My turn.
No, I agree. It's
All
a
right.
good one. It's a good one.
If you were famous, what would your stage name be?
Oh,
Ooh, stage
yes.
name.
I'll tell you right now, Smoky Spice.
Sounds like a stripper name. That's not a stage name.
No, it's a stage name. All right, do you not know the Spice Girls?
You're asking. Of course, I know the Spice Girls.
Okay, so then I'm Smoky Spice because I'm the one that smokes a little and likes to sing and will have a little every once in a while. So I'm Smoky
I mean, that's
Spice.
solid, but it still
Listen,
also sounds like a stripper name.
I don't give a shit if it sounds like a stripper name.
Well, listen. All of the Spice Girls names sounded like stripper
You
names
asked
too.
me what my stage
And I
name
love
would
the
be.
Spice Girls.
And
I
told
watched them
you.
on mute all the time back in the day.
Honestly, it also stems from like back in the day. It was just like a joke that like I was Smoky Spice. So that's my
Was that the
stage
one
name.
you wanted me to ask you?
No,
Oh.
it wasn't. Boom. What's a skill you wish you had but don't? You got such a great question. Why am I getting like these?
Fuck. Let's go with like actual
skill,
real
like
life
skill.
skill.
Well, yeah, not like a superpower, a skill.
I don't know.
What's a skill that you
All I'm
wish
thinking
you
is
had
Napoleon
but don't?
Dynamite. Girls only like guys with big skills. You know,
Okay, but come on,
That's
Kevin. Think.
like solid.
Can you not like admit that
solid
you,
martial arts skills would be great because I did martial arts
Okay.
growing up, but I stopped before I became extremely proficient in them.
Okay.
Like I stopped way before, way before I could be good enough to be even called good at them.
Okay. So you
martial
wish you had
arts
more
skills
martial arts skills.
would be very cool, both physical and mental. That'd be something dope to have because
Well, then you should do it.
time. I have too much time invested in so many other things that
That's
in order
true.
to that's a very heavy time consuming practice.
Mhm.
And I don't even want to say hobby because it's kind of like a lifestyle choice.
That's true.
At that
Would you
level, it's a lifestyle choice.
Would you ever, let's say, like after the Open, would you sub doing CrossFit for? No.
No.
Just curious.
No, but it's I know that I'm choosing one over the other.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to
Yeah,
like
that makes
magically
sense.
matrix it and have all that knowledge, but all that would come with such a time commitment
Yeah.
that I understand
I
and
do
respect
agree,
it.
though. That's a great skill. Like it's a.
That'd be cool.
I don't want to say like beautiful skill, but it's like very. Fuck, I can't think of the word.
That's okay. Well, the thing is, it's both the mental and physical sides. Because, like, if you look, I'm thinking of it from like the temple-based monks that practice martial arts. They have both the
Okay.
physical aspect of it, but also the mental control as well. The
mental-
ability
well,
to
the
do
mental
things.
part, yeah, is
Because they can do things that we would
Such a
never seem
difference.
possible just through the redundancy of practice and the meditation state that they put their mind in to allow them to
I honestly
perceive their body in
I
different
give
ways.
them a lot of credit because that's one of the hardest things to do. I feel
Almost impossible. I like this game.
right.
All right, one more each.
All right,
Game on.
come on, dive on in.
Dude, you're stuck on it. What's the best thing you've dressed up as for Halloween?
Yes,
Was this it?
this is the one I wanted you to ask me. Okay, my friends had a like superhero themed Halloween
And
party
you
one
dressed up
year.
as me?
No,
Oh.
I went as Super Jew. Okay.
This
I'm
is
Jewish.
hilarious and offensive at the same time, and I want
I'm
to hear
Jewish,
all about it.
so just want to say that first. Okay, so what I did was I curled the hair here, had a yarmulke on, obviously, and then my part of my hair up so that you could see the curls, okay? I had a shirt on where, and Brett helped me make this, we put duct tape. So you know those lights that you just push on?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we taped one to my shirt, and we put the Star of David on top of it, so it lit up. Then I obviously made myself a little blue cape, and then I had a belt that just had coins taped, like I had fake money, and then like I had black leggings, and it just had like fake dollars attached to it, and coins, and just like a pouch full of coins, and it was absolutely amazing.
I love every part of that.
Hands down, best Halloween
The light's
costume
my favorite
ever.
part because it
Yes,
turns on
it
and
was.
off so you can save electricity if you choose. Just throw that out there.
My favorite part were the curls because it's just
I
too
got it.
funny.
It's good.
All right, so
I'm
last question
proud
for
of
you.
you.
Thank you. It was a great costume. Now I need to find the picture of it. I don't want to ask you this one because I already know how you spend your free time. I don't know why. No, we're nope. You.
What if I go? Yeah, well,
I
maybe
already know.
they don't know. Ask me another one.
Yes.
They're gonna know all that anyways.
Yeah. What's your least favorite smell?
Fuck. I know what my favorite two smells are.
I don't care about what your favorite.
Yeah, fuck
cheese-
off. I know. I love the smell. 3 favorite smells: smell of fresh cut grass, the smell of boat vinyl in the spring when you stick your head under the boat cover for the first time because it smells like summer.
I guess. I think what smells like summer is different for everyone.
That smells like summer.
Okay.
But least favorite smell, like
What's
I'm
something
gonna
that
have
makes
to.
you gag, like smell wise?
Well, I am a sympathetic puker, but it's only if I smell puke. So if I smell puke, I puke immediately.
So would you say that's your least favorite?
I would
smell?
have to go with that.
Puke. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I feel like that's a pretty generic statement, but it's definitely my least favorite
Well,
smell.
there's a lot of people that would probably say puke.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's because it is one of the least nice smells ever.
I'm more a person that if I see you puke, I'll most likely start
You want to know
gagging,
what
and then the gagging is what makes me
you
throw
want to know
up.
what a weird smell is when you're field dressing a deer? It doesn't smell bad
Wait, can
But
you like
it's-
explain what that means though?
when you're gutting a deer.
Oh,
When you no, see, it's not like it doesn't smell like
Here's the
pukey or
thing.
acidic or anything. It has like just this weird, it's its own unique smell that I really can't even convey with words. And it doesn't make you pukey, but it makes you go, I don't know if I like that, you know.
yeah.
And I've yet to determine like what it is about it.
Almost like when you smell something that's going bad, is it like because you killed it? It's almost like instant, like an. It
No,
could
'cause
be
it's
like
so
an
fresh, it's
instant- no, I know
immediate,
it's
yeah.
fresh, but like
And it doesn't smell like blood either, because you know, like if you you can
Mhm.
taste blood or smell blood, it doesn't smell like that either. It's weird.
it's like I'm not like grossed out by the fact that you're doing it. It's just not something that I could personally do.
No, that's fine.
Unless I had to, unless it was like life and death. If it's
Yeah.
that, then I think I could do whatever
I just ask people to respect it. I don't ask them to be able.
absolutely.
Yeah, I don't ask them
I
to
would
be able
never
to
be
do
like,
it. on their own.
Kevin, I can't believe you do. I can't believe
There are
you
a lot
go
of people that
hunting.
do that.
Well, I
believe
know,
it or not,
but
and it's a lot of people
that's-
that I can respect you if if you're standing on a moral ground
Mhm.
where you're, let's say, a vegetarian or a vegan, and like you at least have a moral basis for your decision, even though I don't agree with it.
Mhm.
But if you're eating cheeseburgers on Wednesday nights and then you're having that same kind of opinion, that's where I really get. I truly get aggravated because the ethicality of it is so
Well,
extreme, but you can't
a good
convey that
counter.
well.
So a counter argument, I feel like. So recently, I was watching something where the girl was a vegan, whatever, and she's like, I don't want to kill the animal. But the person
Okay.
was like, well, sometimes though, if we don't kill this animal, they're gonna get all the other animals sick, and then they all die off. So I never really thought of that as sometimes you have to kill an animal. So if you kill it, then the other ones stay healthy.
Oh,
If you
that's-
don't
yeah.
kill it, but I had never known that. You know what I'm
Think
saying?
of it from a
So it's like-
conservation aspect as well.
are you as a, it's an interesting question, right? As a vegan, are you okay with that? Or would you rather let all the other animals get sick?
What if you knew, as a vegan, that in order to save hundreds of animals and animal species, you have to kill, not kill off, not
No,
eradicate,
yes.
but you have to kill hundreds of a certain species
Yes.
in order to make sure that the fauna and flora
Mhm.
of the natural habitat can thrive. Because
Mhm.
if an invasive species such as the wild boar take over,
Mhm.
like in Florida, they have people that are paid to simply kill wild boar, but if they didn't do so, it would kill off so much native fauna and flora that all the animals you care about are going to be dead
Mhm.
anyways, and you'll just be staring at pigs for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
So,
it's just
but a
an
lot of people don't
interesting-
understand that.
No, I get that too. So that kind of is like a good segue, I feel like, into like what our topic is a little bit. Deals with animals and
Well, fair, yeah.
right.
I agree.
Like,
Well, it's something we wanted to talk about. I want to talk about.
well, I think
per
it's
se.
an interesting topic. Let's let you kind of lead us in because you're the one who brought it up.
Dear people, I like movies that do that. By the way, too, where it's what do they call that when they're acting within a movie, but then they look at the screen in the middle of the movie
Oh,
and recognize it, and then come back, like the awareness
like
of
a
like
third. No,
it's something wall break instead of wall break. They
is it
said
the
it in
third wall?
Deadpool.
Is it the third wall?
Yeah, third wall. Yeah,
Third wall.
third wall break inside
Yeah,
third
'cause,
wall break.
Yeah, Deadpool does
Yeah,
that.
Deadpool does it. Yeah.
I do love that.
But even so, one of the things that I read about recently, heard about recently, minimal research, so not smart on the topic at all.
Okay,
What
no,
I'm
I
about to
did
tell you,
very minimal.
yeah,
from
what I'm
you told
about to
me.
tell you is all that I know, and my questions surrounding it are more from the ethical perspective than the actual.
Aren't they always?
Well, the thing is-
you always go in a weird way
Yeah.
sometimes with like a topic. I feel
Well, scientific
like.
facts
no,
are
but, like,
scientific
yes.
facts. They're non-contestable. So the thing is, what do you do about scientific facts? But nonetheless,
No, okay, yeah.
there is a current, what is known as the de-extinction effort to de-extinct a handful of animals. The one I think about specifically, because it's the most on the forefront, is the woolly mammoth. They're doing it under the guise of conservation efforts and to reduce global warming, to reduce carbon emissions, and they're testing it, and they want to test it out in Siberia. But
So hold on, but like, do they say why that would actually work for those things? Because
yes.
I don't. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll get there in a second.
No, I am because I have no idea. I'm curious.
That's okay. I only know what I know, and there's more information than I know about
fine.
it. But it all makes logical sense when you say it out loud. But the fact that I don't think it'll have the impact that they want it to have, and I also don't know if they should do it. Different conversations.
Yes.
But either way, it's exactly the same fashion that. Well, we talked about it earlier, but they don't know. In Jurassic Park, the same mentality. They could take. We currently have DNA strands that are incomplete from extinct animals, and some full strands from recently extinct animals. And we have the ability to, just like through using CRISPR, which is what's the simplest way to explain CRISPR? It's the way to genetically modify DNA to amend a DNA strand with new pieces. Yeah, pieces.
So,
you can remove pieces and add, or simply add to existing if there's a vacancy.
So like I was reading, there's a scientist where they have chicken eggs where in the embryo they found a way to splice the DNA, so instead of being born with a beak, it has more of a dinosaur nose.
Yes, because
like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
What it does is it's bacterial driven. What it does is they put the sequencing and they attach it to. I'm trying to say this as well as I can because I'm not a scientist. But that's a delivery conduit for the modification of DNA. So what they do is they attach the modification of DNA to a bacterial strand that will attach itself to the existing DNA, remove, and attach. So it's kind of like splicing DNA.
Okay.
Essentially, you're taking a DNA strand that's either fully intact or has some gaps in it, and then splicing in alternate pieces. So it's just like exactly what they were talking about in Jurassic Park, where they're taking historic DNA and molding it to the closest existing relative, which is, in the case of woolly mammoth, they're using Indian elephants.
Okay, yes, I did read elephants.
Yeah, and it's Indian elephants, not South African or
like
African elephants.
specific.
Yeah, they have those pointy ears, like the
Okay.
smaller, pointier ears.
Okay. Is there a reason?
Well, it's they resemble each other closer by DNA strand.
Okay.
But they fill those gaps and then they put it into a Indian elephant embryo, and then.
But what are they filling those gaps with?
They're splicing the two. They're splicing Indian elephant. They're splicing the existing woolly mammoth DNA that has gaps in it, and they're filling those gaps.
Okay.
With
all right. Got you.
With the Indian African, and then boom, out comes a animal that looks, acts, walks, talks exactly like a woolly mammoth. So that's how they're doing it.
But do we really know?
And it hasn't been done yet. It's very close.
Gonna like when you mix a different animal in there, it's a different animal. It's never gonna fully be a woolly mammoth, though.
It can. Well, that's exactly the point. It will never 110% be exactly like the old. It can look, walk, talk, almost identical to what we assumed.
Well, we assume that it's going to.
The woolly mammoth would, yes, but we don't know things like temperament. We don't know things such as reaction to climates. We don't know.
Ooh,
we don't know. We don't know the full outcome of it without doing it. Is the negative side, and that's where my issue comes into play. If you take the science away from it, and they're doing all this, should we? What they're doing it under the guise of right now is climate control. They want to release them into areas in Siberia, where in Siberia there's ice. There's ice, and then there's fauna and flora, but there's a lot of ice, and the ice is melting at X amount of rate, whatever it was. And I'm repeating the information I know as best I can.
Yeah.
But under all that ice is carbon. So when carbon gets released into the atmosphere, it has an immediate effect of heating the atmosphere. So the goal is, if you release woolly mammoths back into that area, they adapt to the area and create a response that actually cools the climate in that area, because what they eat and how they react within the environment, that the net effect of it is creating a cooler environment to keep the ice from melting, to keep the carbon from being emitted into the atmosphere.
So if everything's ice, like everything's ice, there's no growing.
No, there's trees there.
There's
There's trees. There's some fauna. There's some flora.
But like, what if they just end up eating all that's left there, right? Instead of.
I think that's the goal. Not all, but regulated. So there's less fauna and flora, because there's no, I don't think that there's any animals living there in a natural state that eat the vegetation at a rate that could get rid of it enough, because vegetation creates heat and vegetation melts ice. So they want to get rid of vegetation in a natural way.
Okay.
And that's their method of doing so.
Interesting.
I mean, the non-ethical way would be we go into Siberia and just cut down tons of trees.
Yeah.
Right? Essentially.
Well, why haven't they?
Ethicality purposes, legality purposes, I don't know.
We cut trees down everywhere else.
That's here. Yeah, that's
but
here. I don't know.
Not just here.
I mean, we destroy the rainforest. That's nobody's business. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So why is that the reason?
That's simple. In order to.
I'm just saying.
In order for.
Cut down some trees versus let's scientifically
dollar signs. Scientists want to do this.
Mammoth.
Scientists want to do
this.
Of
course they do.
And
so
they also want funding to do this. So in order to get the money to do it, they have to create a reason that is ethical. Otherwise, you're just, hey, are there any super rich people that want to give us billions of dollars to try to make a woolly mammoth?
Because so we have cloned animals, right?
That is correct.
So.
But cloning is different than what they're doing.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying, if you can say would you say cloning animals is right or wrong? Because I feel like if you think that that's right or wrong, it's almost.
That's the same ethicality question.
Yes,
I think.
I mean.
I think it's the same ethicality question.
I feel like it puts things in easier perspective, though, right? So it's like.
Well, there's no guise for that. Like they're not hiding it behind something else. You're just cloning something to clone something.
Yeah.
Is what that comes down to. Now, in entirety, I understand, the regenerative cells that can be duplicated to create, we could take cells out of your liver. If you have, a liver disease and recreate you a liver, that's not recreating a human. That's not...
No, that's different.
It's not cognitive function that you're recreating. It's not... It's
just
part of a living organism, not a living organism.
It's just so interesting because you really don't know if it would come out the way that...
Well, I watched Jurassic Park to the end... So
I haven't seen the newest one.
Well, it doesn't matter. They all end the same way.
Well, obviously, yes, I know.
So at the end of the day, it's like I don't necessarily want to fuck with this.
I was going to ask you if it was more for a Jurassic Park type of reasoning that we're making woolly mammoths.
I guarantee you it will go that way.
Putting into population, and
think about the human condition.
That's going to be the risk factor. Is are they going to?
Some rich person's going to do that. Is what it comes down to.
I understand
that.
Yeah,
so we are walking down that road.
Yeah, I already know that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's what I looked up online already, just even dinosaur wise, right? The fact that you're changing a chicken's beak to come out looking like a dinosaur nose. I don't know, what's the purpose?
Well, what forget benefit to humanity too, because somebody can always argue some sort of benefit to humanity, right? And I'm not religious, so I'm not even going to pull the plain God aspect of it.
No.
But just like I said, we were talking beforehand.
Who are we to decide that the animal that became extinct,
should be brought back.
Oh my God, I'm so backwards today. Extinct should be brought back. Maybe there was a reason that it was.
Well, that's kind of the question. But and the other thing is, what if it was due to human intervention? What if that animal forget woolly mammoth? What if we take it new to Tasmanian tiger? What if they're extinct due to human intervention? Then Then at the same time,
that's different.
Yeah, but you're cloning at that point too, so you're still bringing it back. You're still making something that doesn't exist re-exist.
I don't think that you should make something that existed re-exist in general, because I don't think you really... I kind of almost think of Pet Cemetery. It's you're trying to create this thing, and it's gonna... You hope it comes out exactly as a woolly mammoth, but then it comes out as this awful thing that you just created.
Yeah, well, you could kill that too, though, right?
Well,
Let's
yeah,
say
I
that
guess
that's
you're
the
right.
answer, and
You're
not that
right.
that's
You're
an ethical
right.
answer either.
Well, I'm just
but
saying we just then created something to kill it for no reason.
yes, that's where I was going with that. That's where it is, and I don't have the answer. But the thing that I came in, I was talking to you and Brett about before. It's like smart people know how to do things, but wise people know when not to, and you're always flirting that fine line, and there's no real true answer to it, but it's always an open-ended question of how do you know when you've crossed the line? You know what I mean? And this is one of those situations where we're kind of walking that line again, you know? And
Yeah.
my personal opinion is so skewed on the topic because I can definitely find the valid arguments on both sides.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Yeah, no,
and
because yes, there's always going to be intrigue, right? Like, oh, is that possible? If it is, that's kind of cool. But then there's the other side of like, should we? Is it going to come out the right way?
should we,
I
could
mean,
we?
there's so many both sides.
I mean, it's that question, and like we're talking about dinosaurs now, and one thing, but we can't. Let me backtrack, and I apologize for stumbling on that. Historic literature and dating back to Greece kind of gives us the answer as we shouldn't fuck with it, but as humans, we're going to anyways. But a good example is I'm currently reading a book by David Sinclair, who's one of the leading PhDs in medical science for anti-aging.
Okay.
And in very, very short, he believes that in the near future, within the next 1 or 2 generations, we're going to, between diet and medical intervention, be able to allow people to live a healthy, vital life to the age of 120, meaning you have physical and cognitive abilities. You still degrade over time, but the degradation doesn't happen until much later in life, and you have a much longer life. So, in essence, everyone can live healthy to 120 years old.
But that's only if they have the exercise diet type lifestyle.
Exercise, diet, and medical intervention.
What type of medical intervention?
That's still being worked on. I don't know enough to do that, to speak on that.
Because I'm just curious, like, what they mean by that.
He's working on many different peptides and many different things that create anti-aging effects in the body.
Okay.
Both mental and physical.
Okay.
Because all that happens is you're just water, carbon. You know? As a body, you only degrade because things age. What if you could keep them from aging? What if aging is a symptom, not necessarily...
Well, I think, if you've realized, like, if you look at people, you can already see, and it's already in the, because, like, you know that I'm studying for, it's in there. It says that you're more at risk for aging, everything. But if you live a sedentary life and you don't do shit, you are going to die faster, which means you're also going to age faster.
It's all three. You have diet, exercise, medical intervention. You all get to live healthy to 120. All three. And remember, these are conceptually based.
Yeah.
So we can't...
How do you get everyone to get on board with that?
That's a different story. That's a whole different question. But the thing is, even though you can have a vital brain, let's say that you could keep the brain health that you have right now. You can't make yourself more intelligent as you age. You're still degrading, just more slowly, right? Mm-hmm. Is that beneficial for humans? Like, everybody's like, I wish I could live longer. But at the same time, I'm only 40. My parents I know people that are 100. Life is long as it is, and you can only, and with the speed in which your environment changes, what about the mental issues that it would promote? Things like anxiety, depression. What are you going to be able to compartmentalize? Let's say that the average lifespan is 80 years old. And you see what people are like at 80 now, right? Mm-hmm. What if you add another 50% to that age? Mentally, can you compartmentalize that much data?
But are you adding, at that age, are you still cognitively, like, aware?
Exactly the same. Let's say you're exactly the same at the age of 40, at 80, at 120. Let's say that your mental health right now stays the same. But even with your mental health, you have to triple the amount of information that you have in your brain right now. Positive, negative, emotional, factual. I think that there's a limited amount of space up here for you to compartmentalize information.
Okay, I understand that. I also think, though, there's a reason sometimes why you have that aging effect when you're getting older. Do you really want to be aware of certain things when your body is like kind of falling apart?
Exactly.
Or like, do you want to be aware that you're this age and like you have no like? I mean, at 120, who the fuck is gonna have like unless you have kids who have grandkids who actually come and take care of you?
Let's say that you
live
live
alone.
Let's pull the Aldous Huxley on it and say like A Brave New World, where everybody was healthy to the day they died in his book. Okay.
I mean, I would love
that. They were bred to only live. People were bred in his book, and they were aged to live, I believe, 60 years. But don't quote me on that because it's been 2 years since I read it. But then you just die. You live the exact same your whole life. Like, let's say that the health that you have at your 30
but like everyone has no health problems. Everyone has...
everything is perfect.
Okay.
Everything is perfect.
God, I'd love.
And then you die at 60, right?
To be honest, I think I'd pick that over living to 120.
Now imagine if you had that, but in his book, what you have to do to create that kind of life, you have to forego so many other options. So it's not a perfect comparison, but
I don't think anything could be a perfect.
But imagine if you take that and double that. Well, my concern is that you cannot, I use the term compartmentalize, you cannot absorb that much information without having a negative side effect. You can't see that much change in your life while being able to stay stable mentally. Even if you have good mental health to the age of 120, it's not a mental health issue. Because even now I see the negative things.
So it's like at my age, I feel like I've lived already like 5 different lifetimes.
Exactly. Imagine if you triple that.
But they feel like lifetimes ago, so
compound it. What I'm saying is keep the same mental health you have right now.
I understand that.
Compound that 3 times.
I'm trying to think about that because I already feel like some of those are a lifetime away and they're so far. Yeah, you kind of get away from who you...
Yeah.
Shit, I don't know.
Exactly that. I don't know if it's something that's cool to investigate, but I'm not too sure whether it should be meddled in. Because I'm all about...
sure, you can investigate, but I don't really think you're ever going to find the answers.
I would rather see people learn how to live with more vitality in the limited lifespan they have.
Yeah.
Because one of the reasons, like, let me backtrack. Yes, old age can be sad to see, and it is depressing to watch people pass away in the latter part of life because it's very rare that it doesn't come with some sort of issue, right? Mm-hmm. However, and I said this in the last podcast I did with Owen, life is beautiful because it's doomed. That's what makes it so... That's why greens look greener. That's why tastes better, because you know that they're not forever. And they won't even taste that way for the entirety of your life, because the moment is momentary.
Oh yeah, well your taste buds change over time.
Now, imagine if that didn't happen. So what I'm saying is, like, the concept of an immortal life doesn't intrigue me at all, because I think it takes the beauty out of what's in front of us.
Well, absolutely. You're not going to enjoy that view you go to see as much because...
This scotch wouldn't taste nearly as good. I'm getting more. I'll be right back, people.
Don't just walk away.
I just walked away.
He just walked away mid-podcast like a dick.
This podcast not sponsored by Lefroy. If you like seaweed being beaten over, burning firewood on the ocean side, this is your scotch. That was good, right? I should be paid for this.
Dive on in.
Poor you. Why is all the rum gone?
You know, okay, so here's another thought. I want to go back to the woolly mammoth.
Let's go back to the woolly mammoth.
All right. Curiosity, right? Let's say this not technology, or let's say we can clone something crazy, right? Even just crazy.
Anything.
What's to say that someone can't use it as a weapon instead?
They will. It's that simple.
No,
it's that
that's what I'm saying.
They're
right?
already trying to do that.
Are they?
Oh yeah, viral. Where do you think? Why do you think all of this
Like
stuff
with
that was happening in the
animals?
Wuhan lab? This is it's
True.
all
Okay,
it's all duplication
No, I didn't
of
think
viruses
about
and
that.
then modification thereof.
Fuck, I didn't really even think
Gain of
about
function
that.
is a 100% exactly that.
So
Like,
that's like another. So I just wanted to say, like, that's like another like reason why maybe we shouldn't fuck with that shit.
no, but here's the counter argument. It's inevitable that it's going to happen. So what if you don't want your enemies to do it before you do?
That's not like the best reason, though.
No, but it's a valid reason
I
because then
understand
you
it's
can't
a valid
be.
reason.
It's a valid reason.
And I get it, and and I would agree on the most part of.
Well,
yes,
I
we
will
should
not-
always be
yeah.
a step ahead of our enemies.
I will not be willing to be a victim. So if that's the reasoning behind what we're doing, then
No, that
then
does
the
make
answer is
sense.
yes.
That does make sense.
So-
but oh god,
But
it
the
gets
problem-
me on both sides though.
One
You know
who
what
pays
I
for that
mean?
though, your children, because both parties are meddling with things that are gonna affect future generations at the expense of today.
We already
I know we fucked that
are
cake
down
way
that
long ago.
road.
Like,
I mean, really, come on.
you're welcome. So these are all the things I'm currently reading. Would you want to live to 120 years old
I don't think so.
in full vitality?
No.
I don't think I would either. I mean, I'm saying
Granted-
this in a very positive way.
Granted, maybe.
And what if
If you can you still walk? Like, all right, I know you've like explained it, but like, you're still degrading. So your bones, you're not gonna be able to go for those walks that you want to see. You're not gonna be able to like. So you're.
But that's staved off until much later in
I
life.
understand that.
And
but
let's say that the end of life is only 2 years out of the 120. So let's say you have like great health until 118, you have 2 shitty years, you're dead. Here's the other thing. Remember that the concept behind this, and this is a big one for me, it's health and wellness first. So you have your diet and your exercise and medical intervention.
Mhm.
Now, I use the term medical intervention because it will be necessary, and who do you think is going to be able to afford this medical intervention? At first, only the elite, and then secondarily, maybe a majority, and then you get to like upper middle class
True.
eventually over a vast amount of time, right?
Mhm.
However, that means that if you can and do choose to afford it, do you know how you're not going to be able to sustain it? 'Cause do you know how much negativity you're going to see? You're going to watch all your friends pass away and all their kids pass away in your pursuit of a longer lifestyle because they couldn't afford to do so yet. So that's another thing that people haven't
Interesting.
really thought about. And think about how much that would weigh on your soul.
I don't think I would want that.
No, fuck no. Nobody wants that. That's shitty.
I wouldn't want to watch everyone I know die.
Literally,
It's like
and their
almost
kids.
Being, it's like
Fuck.
it's kind of saying like, hey, I'm a vampire.
That's what I was attributing it to, because a lot of the vampire books, I just read Bram Stoker's Dracula.
All like the vampire books, yeah.
Well, I just read Bram
I'm
Stoker's
sorry.
Dracula.
I forget that like you get deep into these subjects, so
That's what she said. And whatever, it was gonna.
I know.
Most of the most of the real books that you'll read that are like in-depth, meaningful, like have a philosophy or psychology behind them for vampires, talk about the negativity of
I
immortality.
would feel like
Even the good ones, even
the-
Underworld
no,
has
I'm
all that
just gonna say
negativity
even,
associated
like,
with it.
I'm gonna be a girl right now. Twilight.
Oh fuck, it's a burden to bear though.
They even say it's not you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
even in the girliest of girly vampire books, they do tell you that there is a wear of, like, you see things that you carry on forever.
Yeah, like only the ignorant would think of it as a gift. It's a burden to bear.
Yeah.
It's a burden
Absolutely.
to
No,
bear.
I absolutely,
So
I agree with that.
So the pursuit of that is crazy. I mean, at the same
Honestly,
time,
why can't we just focus on getting people just healthier?
let's
Fuck, like, living longer. Let's just make you feel good.
let's take away that. Well, the feel good part I agree with, but I'm going from it from a vitality standpoint. How many people do you know that are?
Feeling good will help your vitality.
I agree with that, but what I mean, in essence, is how many people do you know that are alive but not living? Does that make sense? They're alive but don't have a life. They don't.
Yeah, I know.
That's what I would like to see change first. I would like to see
Well,
that kind of stuff change in precedence to this, because
there's many different.
you could tackle that now though.
But hold on, but there's different levels of that though.
I know.
Are they
work
born
on
that
making
way?
people's lives better
You know what I mean?
intrinsically, as opposed to elongating their lives.
Yeah. Well,
because this guy that's
I will
trying
always go for that versus the other.
Because what it doesn't seem like he's taking into consideration in his book that I've read so far is he's pursuing this longevity issue because he has such a good life. But what you got to remember is not everybody is blessed with that.
Who's gonna say that? Like, yeah, that's great that you have a great life right now, but in a year, something tragic might happen to you. You don't know what life brings. You don't know when your downs are gonna come. You don't know when your fucking ups are gonna come.
That's a good way to put it.
So, that's a kind of false, like.
What if you woke up with the mentality of a shitty life every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you just want to elongate that to 120? How about instead of putting the effort and resources into that, how can we help people better with the 80 years they currently have? That's where I'm going with that too.
I'd much rather get people on board to just better themselves in life in general. Not better themselves. I understand that there's a pride sometimes of I'm this, I'm that, I'm whatever, but let's just be honest. Sometimes it's not healthy. Sometimes it's not good for you. And you damn well don't feel good, right? So I'd rather focus on tackling illnesses without just shoving medications down people's throats and not finding the root cause, because that's a major problem. And once you do that and you can start making people feel better by working out, by dieting, like if that person goes through that, they're going to see that, and it's like a circle. They want to better people, and then you know what I mean?
Well, we get back to this topic all the time.
I know,
but
that's almost what it always comes back to.
It's almost what it always comes back to. But in essence, instead of putting the energy into these things that we discussed earlier, if we could put some sort of energy into formulating a procedure where we can make that more widespread, I think that would have a better impact on humanity.
So what's funny is you're going to have an easier time doing the other one
than this
population-wise.
Yeah.
Than
100%.
the one that you should really
the other
be
two
focusing
are
on
intriguing and easier.
Yeah.
They're intriguing and they're easier because they hold your attention span more and they take less effort to do so.
Mm-hmm. That's such a good, like, you could literally just go on forever with this topic because it's really just such a battle. But it does piss me off a little bit because it's like, why aren't we, like, let's stop figuring out how to live to 120 and let's start figuring out how to actually make the world better.
That battle dates back to the
How about
Old
making
Testament.
us better? How about stop relying on pharmaceutical companies to make us better? Let's freaking...
Well, it's also dated back to, I just finished Deuteronomy and the...
You're ridiculous. I can't believe
I know. I'm
still
reading. I'm reading the Old Testament. I just finished Deuteronomy, which was kind of like a recitation of a lot of stuff that happened in the chapter before. But in essence, one of the big things in the Bible that dates back how many thousands and thousands of years, the Old Testament, complaining about something and seeking ease never leads you to the end result that you want. Like, and that's been at the forefront of all of the stories.
Again, and this is like a vicious cycle. Most people don't realize they're in that negative.
Oh, yeah, I know. I mean, woolly mammoths are pills to live to 120, and nobody knows what they want. But the thing is, the concept that I wanted to get into with the entirety of this is, should you? The can you is pretty well pre-established nowadays. Like,
can you? Kinda.
Can you? But should you?
But we don't really know also. It's like, yes, we know cloning works, but on the other level, have we actually spliced DNA?
Oh, yeah.
With other animals?
Oh, CRISPR, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
CRISPR
okay. I felt like we had, but I wasn't like 100% sure. So it's like, all right, so what animals have we spliced together and what has come from that?
That's a good question. I can't remember. But I do know.
Actually, I would really like to know now.
It's available. # Google person. Brett would be a good Google person. But CRISPR's been around for years, and I want to say almost 10.
I would really like to know.
And that's the splicing technology.
But I would like to know what animals they've spliced together and the outcomes if there is any.
Yeah, and
if
it's not
they
just
sh-
animals.
They're not going to
it's,
always share that stuff, but
I think it's also the utilization of CRISPR initially wasn't even different types of animals in splicing or the modification of animals into different animals. The initial context for it was for health purposes, meaning if you have a DNA strand in your body that lends itself to a disease, we can, through this CRISPR system, in you, remove that strand of DNA and then input a corrective strand of DNA into the DNA
that's so crazy to my brain.
That removes the
No, I know,
issue.
but it's just so crazy in my brain that we can do that.
So, but here's the two things. You're also kind of changing who you are at a cellular level.
Oh, absolutely. If you take something
But we're also saving your life.
Yes.
So, you flip that coin. Want to know what? I can't make that decision. I'm not dying. If I was, I'm going to tell you to pop me with the syringe, you know?
It's like half of me wants to say if they could fix and take out my autoimmune disease, it's like, fuck yes. But
exactly.
like, if it changes who I am, then no.
Well, here's the thing: we never tested
don't
on.
know.
We don't
Yeah,
know.
that's
We never
what I
tested
mean.
on
So,
humans, and we don't know long-term results.
If we could know long-term results, that would be very interesting.
And you would technically never know long-term results because the only thing you
Well,
have
yeah.
after the modification is who you are after the modification. So we don't know who you 20 years from now would be without it. So you can't test unless you clone a human and then give the modification to one of them.
Have we tried to clone a human? Or has that just been, like, ruled unethical?
You can't in the United States.
Okay.
It's illegal in the United States.
Is.
That much I know. I
Okay.
do not know about other countries all over the world, but I guarantee you somebody has.
I'd like to see what that came out as.
Probably fine, to be completely honest.
So?
Yeah, I think so. I think probably fine. I think it's probably fucking weird. You know, imagine if you cloned you, because it would have to be an existing human, right? So you're not going to clone a baby usually. Well, you maybe.
Wait, if you clone, does it come out as a baby, or can you make it a?
No, yeah, it has to. It has to go through a growing part. Yeah,
True.
of course.
Look,
So
I'm not science, or I'm not like I'm not a science person.
If you cloned you right now,
I'm dumb. It would come out as a baby.
I'm not a science person either. If you cloned you and you had a baby clone of you. But then 30 years from now, you met the baby clone of you who was literally you.
Oh, that would be so weird.
I mean, there's been tons of movies about that shit.
But like, it would be cool if you could just clone yourself, like, at the age that you're at.
I would never do that to anybody.
I mean, I wouldn't either, but it would be interesting.
I have enough trouble handling myself individually. Like, the world doesn't want two of me. That is guaranteed. All right?
Who knows? There might be another one of you out there. Doppelganger.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I hope they're as caffeinated as I am, too.
That's interesting.
I mean, the doppelganger thing is real. Do you feel...
I know the doppelganger thing is real. I got sent a video of this girl. Unfortunately, she is definitely my doppelganger. She has braces, crazy hair. She turned around... my friend sent it to me, and it's like a funny video, and it was me in high school, and I was like, oh. So
well, first of all, I feel bad for my doppelganger because I know what they're getting into. Not good. But imagine if you met your... Okay, forget physical doppelgangers. Imagine in this real world if you met your personality doppelganger.
You would hate them.
Oh, I'm fucking obnoxious.
No,
I know I would hate them.
You would hate yourself. A lot. No, trust me, because like think about it. When you and we've talked about this, and it might have even been on the podcast at some point. But if you really, really dislike someone, you kind of have to think like, do you dislike them because they remind you of
a negative side of myself?
Yeah, like you know what I mean.
That,
we have talked about that.
They remind you of a shortcoming within yourself.
Yes,
that's why
and that's not
them.
always the case, but it can be.
Fuck. Well, I have a lot of shortcomings, so that's fine.
I just know that I know I can be annoying, so I don't think I would ever want to meet myself.
I could definitely be annoying.
I think everyone can, but like...
Yeah, but in their own way.
Mm-hmm. I'm loud. So... I know. I know you're allowed to, but
And that guy.
Yeah. Oh my god. I don't know.
There's
see, now I'm like so lost in all of these different like
Topics.
theories and topics that are going on. All right, so you guys at home, if you listen to this, I want you to comment.
Sorry.
And I want to know if you think we should be doing these things or if we shouldn't be.
The real question is why, too. Like,
Well,
I'd be curious to know why. Like,
yeah, okay.
I want to hear that argument because, like, the simplistic answer could be from a religious standpoint. That's one
True.
thing that I do love about religion because the world is a little better when it has a preset of rules. Not because it makes us more intelligent for it, but if you have a preset of rules, it gives you less things to have to think about so you can focus on the important things. So a religious perspective would say no because that's non-ethical from a religious perspective. Mm-hmm. A non-religious person would argue that, be like, well, actually, who has the real benefit here? In my mind, even though I'm not religious, the religious person can then go about their day doing the things that matter most, right? The non-religious person then has to contemplate all these things and argue the side that is ethical versus unethical from a non-religious perspective, where somebody that has a basis of morality in religion could just let it pass. You know, it doesn't make them dumber. It doesn't make them weaker or less intelligent.
No.
It just means that they prioritize other things because there's already a rule in place.
Well,
for
that would be like if someone called me weaker because I didn't believe in religion. You can't compare others for their decisions because that's dumb. I mean, depending on what decisions they are. Never mind. God,
yeah.
you make me take back a lot of statements.
Pending. Do you want me to blow your mind?
Always.
Since it's only like 52 minutes. Ready? I talked about this with Mancini this morning for a little bit.
All right.
Yeah, I know. I love that man.
Okay.
I would love to have more conversations
on,
with him. Like,
I already told him he's coming back on, so.
Your interpretation of the facts that constitute your past, everyone, are dependent on what you know in the current.
Wait,
the
what?
present.
Wait, say that again.
Everything that establishes what you know as facts in the past are dependent on the present. Let me give you an example.
Okay, no, I think
and this is this is in your own personal life. These aren't.
Is it because you've grown and you can see those?
No, kind of. But let me give you an example, and it's kind of like it's the best example because it's relatable to most people.
Okay.
You're married.
Yes.
You and Brent are married.
Yes.
You've been together for how many years now?
15.
32,000.
32,000.
So imagine if you found out today that Brett has been cheating on you for the last 5 years. Now, you know because you know the last 5 years, it's verified. But every year prior to that, every experience that you have had with him is now in question as to the actuality of your pretext or presupposition of what occurred. Because the alteration of the relationship with that individual makes you question the actuality of your past.
Okay.
So, in essence, from an emotional standpoint and an interpretive standpoint, your personal past is dependent on the knowledge you have in your current state of mind.
I can understand that.
Fucked me up when I heard that.
What did Mancini say?
He said I need to work out.
Good job, Mancini. That is exactly what you needed to say to him.
Because I worked out already, and I was sitting here. I'm like, so Mancini, want to mind fuck you for a second, but it has a lot of truth. Think about that. Like, it really, really does.
You're saying.
And I'm talking from an interpersonal psychology perspective. Your personal interpretation of the things that have happened in your past.
Hit me with a different example.
Oh, that's a pretty good question. I don't have one off the top of my head.
Wow, I stumped you.
I had one this morning, but I drank some scotch.
Oh my god, this has never happened.
But
usually you're like with examples.
Yeah.
So give me a different example. Because I kind of all right.
Well,
so
the concept
what
of
about like if you were a drinker?
Here's the thing.
So hold on. If you were a drinker and you think your past is X, Y, and Z, but you stop drinking, you get clarity. does that mean the facts now change about your past?
Your interpretation of them does. Yeah. The emotional interpretation of them does.
So does that count?
You're 16 years old and a very questionable age, right?
Yeah.
Your father comes out and says, "I'm gay. I've been gay.
Okay.
I'm a homosexual. I'm attracted to men."
Okay, so
does the relationship that you have had with your parents to this date been altered? The love that you witnessed your parents have with each other through your eyes. If he says I've always been
altered,
it's going to be altered.
You can't not alter it because then it makes you question if you loved her at all.
Yes, and then you question people that you're going to love in your future because that's what love looked like to you.
I feel bad for these people that actually.
And that's a very good example too, and that kind of like blew my mind, and I do completely agree with it. So
I think yes and no. I think there's ways that you can disagree as well.
I know, but I think that the backdrop to that was the best way to forego any kind of major negative impact in your life is to be reasonable and alert and aware. Well, to the best of your knowledge, because you also cannot...
You can't always be that,
how do I want to say this? You can't hold yourself accountable for things that have been hidden to you if they've been hidden out of your sight.
Ooh.
Because that's not your burden to bear. You have to react to it. But at the same time, your interpretation is still accurate because that's what you knew it as. But you have to mentally unfuck yourself to do that.
Well, that's what's going on. There's a lot of jumbled thoughts in here right now because that's a very intriguing one that you can just go down the rabbit hole with.
Oh, hard. It can make you question everything that you have ever experienced.
But I can understand that though because and we've talked about it before and I'm sure it'll come up in other podcasts, but I lived a life thinking that my family was perfect. I mean, we went on family vacations. We went, it was, I saw the love between my parents. And then when we moved and my dad's alcoholism just couldn't be hidden anymore. And I found out everything that I thought changed. So I do understand where you're coming from with that because I thought X, Y, and Z for so long. And then, boom, I get hit with this. I'm like, well, what else was false about my childhood?
I would like to think that the answer to avoiding the mental fuck up of it, it's just my own. I did not
a
scientist, not a psychologist,
but I did not avoid the mental fuckery of it.
But what I found later in life is that to avoid that, seek truth and speak truth. Because it is the best way to avoid those complications.
Well, I agree. But there are certain times where you might make a decision saying, okay, well, I think this might be best for that person, but then it's not. But you don't know that in that moment.
Yeah, but that's the concept that the entire Constitution of the United States was written on. Reasonable.
Yeah.
Reasonable interpretation of what you have in your foresight. You can't know what you don't know.
Yeah,
you could just seek that.
It's going to depend on age. It's going to depend on
wisdom and knowledge.
What you've been through. It's going to depend on where you are mentally. It's going to.
Yeah, but you could also you can know a lot, but not know what to do with it. That's a whole different concept as well.
That's true.
Just because you know something doesn't mean you know what to do with it.
I feel like when you start to be aware of certain things and you try to fix things and your awareness becomes a little bit better
because you're seeking truth.
Yeah,
I realize that's the concept of seeking truth.
I can see now certain things. I'm trying to find the words for it, but it's when you're trying to seek the truth of things or try to seek betterment of yourself, that's when you can start to see where things weren't as truthful, or you believed this, but you weren't really believing it for the right reason, or, I mean, again,
a lot of pursuit. This will help you in your career too, because you are very good about not doing this, but other people do this when they're doing it individually. The seeking of betterment sometimes comes with the side order of brushing things aside
Oh.
and foregoing truth.
Like, give me an example. Like, what do you mean?
I guess the best example that I can give would be the harshness of truth in the moment could better you in the future.
Okay.
So where I was going with this is if a friend comes to you and say, I feel overweight, you should tell them they're overweight in a nice way. You don't have to say, hey, in a
no,
nice way.
you don't have to be a dick.
But I think that here's what I'm going. False promises through ease. We talk about diets often. Ready? Diet pills, fad diets, short-term conceptual answers to long-term goals.
Okay, so saying
that's the negative side of the pursuit, where you could be honest.
They're pursuing, but not really pursuing.
Yeah,
is that what you mean?
But the honesty of the answer would be you saying it's going to be hard, and there are demons in you that you're going to have to battle, and this is going to be one of the toughest things that you do. It is not going to be easy, and it's going to take way longer than you expect it to.
Which is what no one wants to.
But it will be worth it.
But what's funny is no one wants to hear it.
Yeah. But
I had a consultation with someone, right? And just all they wanted was like, well, what diet are you gonna put me on? And I'm like, I don't do diets. Everybody's different, so I'm more about finding what's right for your body. Was not happening. Like, she was like, well, that's not going to work. I'm like,
that's fine.
You've already said you went through this diet, this diet, this diet, this diet, and that didn't work. I'm like, because it's not sustainable.
Oh, let's talk about the preconceived notion that you have to help everybody. It's okay to say no. Some people, you just got to let it go.
Well, that's what I've learned.
Yeah. Some people, you just got to let it go. Let them battle their own battle, and it's not your duty to fix it.
And I even said that I go, you know what? I just don't think that us working together, and like that's the funny thing, right, is like people would be like, why would you say no to someone? Well, if I don't think that I can help them, why the hell am I gonna take their money? Like, I'm just not that type of person, I guess. But I'm not gonna work with you if you're not gonna put the work in, because that's not who I want to put my positivity into. I want to put my awareness, my skills, and what I can help you bring to the table to the people who actually want it.
I agree, first of all, because I personally won't help anybody that doesn't want to help themselves. And I'm very I'm very eager to call people out, because I think that people don't get called out enough too.
Well, yes, and there's a lot of negativity within, like, that if you take on a person that's not really willing to commit, then you're also bringing yourself almost kind of down to their level when you're with them.
Yeah.
And you don't want that.
Well, they can handle rejection. They could also handle hearing no. Listen, the forest is full of thorns, right?
Some people can't handle it. Some people
deal with it.
Handle.
Deal with it.
I was one of those. I'll be honest. Yeah. I definitely couldn't handle shite.
I know, but you made your way through it. Sometimes it takes longer than others, is the thing. Like,
no, it is true. And I'm very lucky where I feel like I had very good people around me to help guide me.
Yep. And you find out when you're ready to find out.
Yeah.
Well, but all these contexts and all these notions that I talk about too, they're things that I hear that make me think. That's it. Like, and I don't ponder them forever by any means, but it's just,
if you do,
then you'll go nuts. You'll go nuts. But it's pretty cool if you sit there.
It's fun to have these conversations. It's fun to think about these things, but you can't just go down that route all the time, because then that's negative. That turns into negativity.
Well, it's because we're talking about concepts. One of my favorite things that I've heard, and I can't remember who said it. Weak people talk about people. Smart people talk about ideas. You know what I mean? And ideas can correlate with people. So you can talk about people in the atmosphere of ideas or lifestyle ideas. I'm not talking about, hey, what's John doing?
I get it. No, I know what you mean.
But if you can just think openly about this, it just lends you to understand that there are more questions than there are answers. Always.
You're always going to be learning something, and if you don't think that, then you have quite a life ahead of you.
I think I forget more than I learn, fortunately. Which is fortunate.
Most of us, I feel like.
Fortunately. Like I don't like I said, I don't want 120 years of retaining this shit.
Well,
I'm at 40 and I'm already like,
well, I already feel like sometimes I question, like, I'm like, did that happen? You know what I mean? Like, because it's so long ago, and I was such a different person. I acted differently. I'm like, was I like that? Like, it's very interesting because it's like I've already lived, I feel like, four to five lifetimes.
True.
And I've changed who I was through those 4 to 5
Well,
lifetimes.
you have to because you change over time.
You're gonna have at least 4 to 5 more.
Easy. But you can ask yourself the same questions through all of them.
Yes.
And one of the ones that I ask myself constantly is, what would the person you want to be like do in the instant you're in? Because
but can you actually ask yourself that in those hard ass fucking moments?
Yeah, I do it all the time, and I hold myself accountable to it.
I'm trying to be better about that kind of thing. It's a hard.
You're not always right. I hold myself accountable when I'm wrong too.
Like, if you don't hold yourself accountable when you're wrong, then you're just an asshole.
So
I'm sorry. If you can't admit that, like, you've been wrong about something, then...
Well, you're also nothing compared to who you can be, and you know it. And that's another one that I tell myself all the time.
You can always be better.
Yeah, like always.
Always.
Like, and that's such an optimistic point of view. Do you know what I mean? That's not pessimistic. That means that there's more of you.
No, it just means that there's more that you can better. Like, you're going to only get happier if you're trying to fix yourself or try to better yourself or learn more. And it's fine if you don't retain it, like, instantaneously. Like, I do not have that type of recall. It's just my brain. It just is. But I'm still going to learn. I'm going to still want that. I'm going to still want more. I'm going to keep wanting more because I'm going to keep wanting to know more. I'm going to keep wanting to better myself.
It keeps you youthful. I feel.
It's scientifically proven that the more like that you do, if you're someone that's gonna, oh hey, I want to start a new hobby, I want to learn how to do this, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that, your brain is going to stay sharper than the person who's not.
Oh, you want to hear something fun too? Speaking of seeking new experiences. When you seek new uncomfortable experiences and your body reacts, by the way, scientific knowledge, and your body reacts to a stimulus that it has not yet encountered. So mental, emotional, physical reaction to a stimulus you have not encountered, right? Your body forces the generation genetically of new proteins. So you have a ton of potential within you that you have not yet released because your body hasn't experienced it. So the introduction to uncomfortable and new situations literally creates new parts of you that didn't exist before. That doesn't end.
That makes absolute sense.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
There's times where you might not have experienced something where you have to be like ready, right? Like accident, something like that, where you think you would go and be the opposite, but then you're in that experience and it happens to be, oh shit, like I'm better at emergencies than I thought I would be. You don't learn that until you're in that.
Well, that's are you talking fight or flight response kind of stuff?
No. Like, just in general, though, like, if you think that, like, you're freaked out by blood or whatever, right? But then something happens and you've never been in that situation before, and you were able to go through with that, and the blood didn't freak you out and all of that. It's like, you don't know it because you didn't have to deal with it until that moment. And you're never going to know until you're in that moment.
So imagine that. Imagine that there's so much... Imagine how much potential is in you that you don't even know about.
God, if only...
Like, it's
I will
unbelievable.
say, if I could have just learned everything that I learned a little bit earlier, I'd be a little bit happier about it. But again...
Yeah, but could you have used it as well?
Probably not.
There you go. So there's the answer to that.
But, like, again, though, if I just wish I could have been ready earlier. That's all. Like, not a regret, but
who have you ever met that was ready when they learned what they needed to learn? Ever.
I know. No. That is true. What time is it?
One.
All right. Yeah, let's not bore them more than we need to. No, I'm just kidding. What we talked about
guys.
is super interesting.
I felt it was super
interesting. Going in!
So, enjoy this podcast during your run. We could have used you. We
Yeah, I
needed, like,
called
a
out your
Google
name,
dude.
and I was like,
Oh, did
"Bwee!"
you?
Yeah.
We were gonna have you
needed a-
Google.
yeah. We're gonna hire.
My husband was
Is
just
gonna be the-
hiding
yeah.
and didn't want to come out.
He's gonna be the Google guy.
We tried to call out to him.
I kind of was on Google. just
It's
not for
alright.
you.
I was Googling
All right,
shit.
so if you listen to this, we do want to hear your opinions on yes or no for the woolly mammoth and all of the crazy science stuff we were talking about it and why you believe what you believe in.
And what the fuck do you want to hear about? Because we have a lot of people that we can invite as guests from different facets of life, but what's some stuff that you're interested in? We can bring somebody in
Yes.
that can help fill that gap. Because I know very little, and I'm at the end of the shit I know about. So I'm going to run out of stuff to talk about.
My husband just said I like turtles. All right. Peace out.
Peace.